Hi, welcome to another scintillating zombie walk. I figured it's not been a week since the first video log I made, but it's kind of an addictive process once you start. I was kind of unimpressed with the results of the first one, insofar as I didn't really have a narrative or a flow to anything I did. So I figure, let's get another one up straight away. Besides, I have a whole week off work and plenty of time to walk the dog, so there's no better time like the present. Let's start things off, show you a little bit about Zombie. Zombie! He's not really much of a talker, so I don't expect him to be much of a co-host. So unfortunately, you're stuck with me. Now, I do have a couple of topics I wanted to go through today. The first one being children. I myself have 4. They're interesting creatures, and I figured I'd just tell you a little bit more about them. My eldest is 7, and his name is James, and named Nico as a second name after his wife's grandfather, who died not long after we found out she was pregnant, and so never met him. So that is the only serious name out of the group. My second son, or my second child, is another boy called Logan, named, as you can, well, maybe not guess, after Wolverine. Just don't ask my wife that, because she doesn't believe me. Then my daughter came along, and her name is Ashley, and her middle name is Angel, because, well, we finally had a girl and wanted one of these sickly sweet names, mainly so we can tease her later on when she's older. And then my 4th child is another boy called Damon, and his middle name is Dexter, and yes, after the serial killer, because, well, there was a lot of blood at the labour, and when they asked me for his name, my wife was kind of unconscious at the time, and I had free rein to go with whatever I wanted. Luckily, she forgave me and accepted the name relatively quickly. I mean, having kids is great. You know, don't get me wrong, it's great. It's certainly an experience. A rather steep learning curve, but once you've got past the first couple, then it's all plain sailing. That being said, my kids do like to cause a little bit of trouble, you know, when they're awake. And originally it was fine, because they would cause trouble, but it would be individual trouble. That James would be doing something somewhere, Ashley would be doing something somewhere. Logan, who I'll say now has autism, but I'll talk more about that in a later chat. Logan loves to draw. So Logan's big thing is that he draws on the walls or on the floor, windows, pretty much any surface that's white or whitish, because he sees it as paper. But now they're all a little bit older, and they're teaming up on us, which is just remarkably unfair, because most of the time it's 4 on 1, and at best 4 on 2. And those odds just don't work, because kids have this boundless energy, and the more tired they get, the more energy they seem to have. It's a very bizarre phenomenon that somehow leaves us around about the time puberty sets in. But no, so having 4 kids is great, unless they're in a troublesome sort of mood, because then it's just not fair, as I said. And once again, I'm very lucky, because all of my children are remarkably intelligent for their ages. Sometimes they show it in their own unique way, but they are all very clever. But not save the world clever, more of a supervillain clever, which probably should concern me more than it does, but I figure, hey, controlling the world, good or bad, it's going to have to be worth it. Come on, this way. But no, so 4 children takes up a lot of your time, which does conveniently form a nice bridge. Whoa, almost fell. Forms a nice bridge to the second topic I wanted to go through, of coffee. Because, well, not only do I not sleep much because of my children, I'm a writer, and as a writer we kind of use coffee to survive. Let's go this way. we use coffee to survive, to wake up the muse, to wake up ourselves, to do pretty much everything. I'm guessing it's mainly because, speed and cocaine is still illegal. But, one day things might change. But no, I have a mild coffee addiction, which started, when I was 2. I used to drink a bottle of very watered or milked down coffee in the mornings. And since then it's grown a little bit, and at one point I was drinking about 24 mugs a day, something like that. And I've cut down now to about, 10 or 12 most days. And that being said, I do have a half-litre mug in the office that I break out on rare occasions when sleep has avoided me for some peculiar reason. But normally it's at 10, 12 cups per day. And it's great. I love coffee. But the weirdest part is it doesn't really seem to have that big of an effect on me. I can drink coffee all day long and still fall asleep at a normal time, do everything the same way anybody else should. But what it does do, and it's going to sound very strange, is it seems to speed up my brain. It's a very weird sensation. If I knock back a few espressos, I'm calm, I don't get all jittery, I don't get jumpy, but my ability to multitask seems to skyrocket. Which, given the job I do, I'm just a basic office monkey, but I have 10 different customers based around the globe, and it's pretty demanding. There's always emails to be done, questions, problems, queries, and sometimes having the ability to multitask is imperative. And just had to navigate a bit of rough terrain there. But no, so coffee is great. That being said, I drink my coffee black. I'm not really one who goes in for these fancy, frothy things. Come, blazing on top. There's a big dog down there, and Zombie doesn't always play well. Or well, rather, he plays too well. And dogs don't tend to like that. So we'll make a quick detour. Especially as we've met this dog before, and the owner's a bit of a, what's the polite word I should use? Arsehole. About covers it. But no, coffee. I don't go in for these frothy, double, triple, creams and all that jazz. Just black coffee. And I seem to have developed a unique sort of catchphrase, if you will, for ordering my coffees. I just always say, as black as my soul, which was a completely accidental discovery. I was in Sydney around about this time last year, and there was a little coffee shop beneath the office, my customer's office, where I was visiting, and the woman there just simply said, what do you want to drink? I said, a coffee. She said, oh, milk and sugar. And it just flooped out as natural as anything. No, black as my soul. And it cracked her up, as well as most of the other people in the little coffee shop. And since then it's kind of stuck, really. So there you go, a little rather pointless, but I'm sure one day potentially useful fact about me. But so coffee is a rather large part of my life, as far as it's pretty much the only thing I drink during the day. In the evenings I catch up on my water. During the day I'll have an odd glass, but probably nowhere near enough. But hey, you have to have some vices, and I don't smoke. I don't really drink much alcohol, and so, I can live with my coffee problem. And they say it stunts your growth, but which is probably in my case then a benefit, because I'm 6'4", 6'5", and been drinking it since I was 2. So if I'd have drunk it, or if I'd not been drinking coffee, I'd have been a freaking giant. And no one wants to be a giant anymore. Years ago it could have been cool, terrorising villages and things, but nowadays that just doesn't seem as much fun. And ironically forms another nice little bridge. Well, to stick with my train of thought, giant, terrorising villages, problems, trouble, causing trouble, stopping trouble, keeping the peace, police. My third topic. There's only one career I've ever really wanted outside of being a writer, and that's to be in the police force. And I tried. I applied several times to be told I was too big. You intimidate the criminals, and that's against their human rights, apparently. Which, go figure. But I was good enough to do it for free. I just wasn't good enough to do it and get paid for it, which sucked. But still, I did the volunteer police force in the UK for 3.5 years before I left, and it was the best time of my life. And even now, almost 8 years later, I still miss it. There were some great times, and if the opportunity ever came along to join the police force in Holland, I would grab it without a moment's hesitation. It just seems to be the career that would fit me. And I suppose all three of my topics today, children, police, coffee, are elements of my life that at some point are invariably all going to come together into one event. Hopefully, whatever is around us at that time will survive intact, but who knows. Oh, we're now leaving the woods and entering the general population again, so you can just move the camera and you can see where I live. Nice quiet street, although it is normally a pretty busy road. It's the one or two main roads through the town. And then in the distance you've got the sand dunes, or the beach, sorry, and then over to the left we have the dunes. Old woman on a bike giving me a dirty look. But as I said before, you get used to it after a while. But no, so I figure that's pretty much it for today. It's only a short walk because I have a busy day ahead of me, planning on some decorating in the week while I'm off. So I shall end it now and bid you adieu.